Talofa and welcome into the 135 Footy Show, proudly part of the WesWes Network. View on all things NRL from a fan's perspective. Welcome in the host, Bobby. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. It's going good. It's been a couple of weeks. We've had a whole heap of league happen in the last couple of weeks, so lots of stuff to talk through. So looking forward to it, bro.
Yeah, unfortunately we haven't got Stace, but man, a lot can happen in the world of rugby league in a very short time. Let's get straight into it. What's your let's start with your all eyes. Man, a lot of good games over the weekend. Also reaching back into Origin if you want. But who was your all eyes over the weekend, mate?
Yeah, my all eyes came from the Saturday game. It was a really close contest, Storm versus Rabbitohs, and probably prior to this game, I don't think people thought it was going to be as close as it was, but it went to Golden Point. And Storm just took that one out, 25-24. But my all eyes was from the losing team, the Rabbitohs, and it goes to Alex Johnston, who scored 4 tries to take him even closer to overtaking that Ken Irvine most tries in the NRL record. So it currently sits at 212. And with his 4-try haul over the weekend, AJ takes his total now to 206. So he's not too far away from taking that record.
Oh, nice call out, also. And man, yeah, there's still a long season to go. You're right about that game too. Like, yeah, the Rabbits. I only thought that would be a good game, just that, I guess, that natural matchup with Bellamy and Bennett. But man, that's a good call out. Not only for that, for Alex, but also for that game. Yeah, I didn't actually. No one really stood out. I kind of was too disappointed. Actually, I'll probably call it out, but yeah, probably Alamuti. Man, he really stood up in that next man up Panthers as one of the young leaders. So yeah, actually, I'll give my all eyes to poor Alamuti. Man, To'o back in the team this week. He can't even make the bench, so that's shows the caliber as well as the depth they have over at the Panthers. So yeah, we'll go Alamuti. Your Kaya Kele over the weekend.
My Kaya Kele comes from the Sharks game, and they were playing against the Broncos. So Simon and John will be happy that the Broncos were able to take that one out against the Sharks. But it came from a moment right on the stroke of halftime. Ezra Mam's dummy half, and he picks the ball up and he goes to run past Sione Katoa, who's just effected a tackle, but he's still in the ruck and he's sort of just sitting there, and Ezra Mam goes to run past him and he just sort of ankle taps him and then puts his arms up like, hey, wasn't me. I didn't do nothing. And then as a result, like, it's right on half time. And because of that, he then gets sin bin as professional foul. So, you know, the Sharks, who are already down 22-12 at that time to the Broncos, you know, they have to suffer the start of the second half with only 12 men for a whole 10 minutes. So that was really stupid from Sione. I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but he gets my Kaya Kele for the week for that stupid play.
Yeah, that was a real... I don't know if he just thought because it's nearly half time the ref would let it roll, or just but yeah, in the context of the game, how close it was, he should have known. So yeah, a bit of a brain explosion. Makaya Akele is a bit of a harsh one, but I think this player prides himself on the workers' effort and defense. I mean, overall, he had another good game that he always does, but Britain Nikora, 3 crucial misses that you wouldn't usually see him miss. He bounced off that Walsh try early in the game. And then, then there was the 2 at the end, just again, Walsh running through him, and then the miss he had on Reynolds. So, yeah, probably harsh on Nukota, but man, they're all crucial. And man, just, Sharks in general, they should have been up for it. It looked like they were up for it. We'll talk more about that game when we come to the Broncos breakdown. But yeah, that's my unfortunately that is my Kaya Kele for the weekend. All right, so let's jump over to the headlines. A few things coming out. Before we get into recent headlines, let's jump to Origin 2. Your thoughts reaching back now. It feels like ages ago. But yep, nice to get the evener, the leveler.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think the last potty we did, we had Stace on. We were sort of previewing Origin, and one of the comments I sort of made was that, you know, if New South Wales lose game 2, like it's a, even though game 3 is going to be in their home ground, it's still a massive mental thing for them. Like, the talk prior to game 2 was, oh, it's going to be a whitewash, and what are Queensland going to do, and blah blah blah. You see this kind of talk all the time. Like, they always underestimate, like, Queensland coming back from these games, and that first half of Queensland was almost perfect. Like, there was nothing really that looked like was working for New South, and to be honest, it looked like they were trying too hard. When I talked about a bit in the last party, when we were talking about game 1, how I said it was a bit boring, this game had a bit more intent in it. You could feel the intensity was a bit more. I don't know whether adding Luai into New South was a factor in making that intensity level rise, because, that guy just plays super intense, whether it's his club side or whether he's playing for state or Samoa. Man, he's intense. And all of that drama around Spencer Leniu and Queensland not kicking the ball to him, and then they were a bit more intentional trying to do it in game 2, and then when he ran it up, and him and Lindsay Collins, when they collided, I was like, whoa, he looked like he got snapped in half when he ran into Lindsay Collins. Like, it was, he just got sat on his ass, and I was like, oh, no, that's kind of the risk you take when you put a player like Spencer up there. Like, that could have gone either way. If Spencer had run over Lindsay Collins, imagine the momentum that New South would have had coming off that. But because he got sat on his ass, and then there was a bit of, oh, shame. Then it was like, then Queensland were really up, because it was like, hey, this guy was he gets comments in the first one, and then gets put on his ass like that. Like, you kind of saw it coming, but that could have gone either way. That was one of the Origin moments for me in game 2 that could have completely changed the momentum for either team. And fortunately for us Queensland fans, it had the positive effect. Then it just led on, and like, Munster was the man in that first half. But even when they came out in that second half, like, how I was talking about, man, in that game 1, it didn't feel like Queensland were gonna bring it on, and I thought New South were gonna just roll over, and they didn't. So I found the game a bit flat. But game 2, like, Queensland came out, and like, my son was going, yeah, we're gonna pump these guys. I've already texted all my New South mates, and he was giving them shit, and I was like, nah, man, you can never write off a side like New South who have beaten us in game 1. I was like, man, I'm not about that life. I've watched too many Origins, too many nail biters, too many close games. Even during that dynasty of Queensland wins, there were so many close games that could have gone either way, or for some miracle play from our legend players that were in Queensland at the time.
The Blues looked a bit flat too, like, just coming out, like Latrell and even Critter in that first half. They were just like not really involved. So it was like, it's just that momentum that they got in the first half, like like you're saying, almost perfect. And man, it was exciting. Like, I thought, this is like, but man, Stacey called it. They got the win. He gave it to the Maroons by 2. And I think that's probably an even bigger thing. Like, even like maybe from Clubland, like, just this momentum, like, that's the way the game is very much played. And kind of just that Panthers style of play as well. They know those momentum swings, knowing that if they just hold on long enough, once they can get it going, man, especially with To'o and Dylan at the back. Like you could see the way they were trying to turn that game and just getting that momentum. So, yeah, credit to Queensland. I think being able to hold on to, like everyone says, oh, look, you had a huge lead and you couldn't, go ahead. But I think that was probably more testament is them being able to hold on, kind of grit it out right at the end, because I think that's probably more what a Queensland team would do, trying to come back and being able to come over the top of, like when you're on the roll and being able to finish it off. So I think New South Wales, as much as they kind of just say, it's even now, I think they would be disappointed.
I
I
doubt
think
they'll
they're
be
happy to take
disappointed.
the draw, but yeah, they should be with the caliber that they have as well. Talk of the penalty count. I mean, nothing different from last year. It was the same in that game too last year. I think there was 6 repeat sets before they scored that try last year. So it's Origin. Same old.
That dynasty of the Queensland winning, like it's still recent enough for there to be this mental block hangover for current state of origin teams, and I mean New South Wales. Like it's still in recent memory enough for all of those guys playing in New South at the moment, for them to, and for the coaching staff who are probably, bitterly disappointed that Queensland were able to get 8 in a row. For New South, they need to win back-to-back games in order for that whole stigma to sort of be removed, and for them to put some distance between that mental barrier of, man, there's friggin' legacy Queensland teams and state of origin games. To go 1-1 into a decider, man, that whole mental game of, shit, we've lost it here before so many times. Oh my God. And then to think of, man, we should have beaten them in game 2. This is a situation we now find ourselves in. That kind of factors into the preparation now. And I know they'll say that it won't, but bro, Queensland will be like, suddenly we pulled that game out of our ass and now we've got a chance. And that's all we need is a chance heading into a decider.
Yeah.
Whereas New South will be now bitterly disappointed that they weren't able to just, go into game 3 and not give a shit. Like, that's what dead rubbers are. It's like, yeah, you beat us, but we still won. That was the kind of attitude that Queensland had in some of those dead rubbers that they had. I was like, yeah, you won game 3. Oh, well. So it's like, nah, New South will be on the back foot, even though they're playing in front of their home fans. They'll want to bring a big game in game 3, but yeah, just that whole mental side of it. I think, Queensland have been there, done that too many times in recent memory, and all of those guys can't say it was years and years ago. It was like, suddenly it's still recent. It's still within a decade ago. So it's like, come on, man. New South hasn't really won that many since that 8 in a row that Queensland won. So, and I think having all of those guys that were involved in that 8 in a row Queensland team be part of the coaching staff, like that's only going to spread that belief in the Queensland team even more. But, like you said, it's Origin, man. It's whoever wants it more on the day. That's the reality. And you could see that. It was a real game of 2 halves in Origin too. Like, Queensland were kicking ass, and then all of a sudden New South really, really wanted to win not just their game, but the series. Like, they were playing for the series in their second half, and they almost pulled it off. But unfortunately for them, they didn't. And so now that is going to be hanging over them for the next couple of weeks until game 3 happens.
Nice. Also, I think before we catch up next week, I think after this weekend's games, it's going to be teams will be named again as well. Any obvious changes come to your mind from last game? I don't know if there was talk maybe Cleary may have an injury cloud, possibly. Outside of that, let's start with Queensland. Any reason to change? Anything you saw?
There was probably concerns with Ponga on defense. Overcommitting himself, coming across in cover. But, I've seen people talk like, Reece Walsh should just be a straight swap. And I was like, so that his defense isn't that great either. Like, if I'm being honest, yes, he's electric on attack, but I don't know. You kind of know what you're going to get with Ponga. Like, he is reliable, but there are times where he can have defensive lapses, which kind of happened. I thought Rob Toya had a lesser second game. Like, he had a really good debut in game one. Even though it was a loss, I thought he was real solid. But game two, he missed a few tackles. I don't know. Like, I thought bringing in Capewell was awesome.
Man,
The man brought his club form into that Queensland team, and he really stood out for me. He was really solid, like rock solid. And I enjoyed his input and watching him, do what Capewell's been doing for the Warriors all season, pretty much. Like, he was real solid. Stace pointed out, he's got like the most missed tackles in the NRL. Is this the guy that you want? Is the two starting props for Queensland from like the last place team in the competition? Is that the answer for you guys in the front row? Blah blah blah. I don't know. Like, they should probably just stick with the same squad, barring injury. Just as a well, you guys did the job for game two. Yeah, I thought Munster did really well, captaining the side for the first time. You got to feel real sorry for DCE because the only real massive omission was him from the first game. And we looked a better team. We looked more structured, a better sort of organised team running off Munster and Dearden. Yeah, I don't know. I'd stick with the squad the way it is, to be honest.
Yeah. Before we move over to New South, how'd you like that rotation with Liera starting? Carrigan coming in a bit later.
I thought it was good. Like, Carrigan provides real impact, I found. And that's how Carrigan was used when he debuted for Queensland. Like, when he first started, he was coming in off the bench, and he was like man of the match or something in his debut Origin game. So that's probably a better way to use Carrigan. We kind of forget his impact coming off the bench because he's now like a fully fledged starter at the Broncos.
Yeah, especially in the middles.
But he provides real impact. Liero, I don't know. He's interesting selection for me. He reminds me of when they used to pick like Matt Gillett and those kind of players.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, it's almost like it's like that reliable guy that's like doesn't. Yeah,
they're not standouts, but they're just solid and do what they need to do. I don't think he did anything outstanding, but I don't know. Again, Billy sees more than what we see, so yeah.
Storm players, he sees the Storm players. What he sees. The New South, man, real tight game. I can't really question anything they brought. So yeah, nothing. I mean, barring injury, there were question marks over Cleary. I don't know your thoughts if there was no Cleary, or Mitchell Moses. I don't know.
Who should they bring in? Yeah. They should bring in Josh Reynolds or Mitchell Pearce.
Bring out Brayford Astor off the.
They should bring in. I don't give a care. They should bring in that guy that gets the most pressure at his club because his dad's the coach. Flanagan.
Kyle. Yeah, exactly. Bring in Kyle.
I don't know. They've got options. They could bring in Nico Hines again. They could. I don't know. They might pick someone else.
What's Katoa? What's the Finns? Was that Katoa? Man, he's been playing well, but man, probably too much.
I don't know. Is he? Oh yeah, because he was originally from Penrith, so he might be.
Yeah, he's Panthers. He knows that system, I guess.
Silly! Don't give them any ideas, mate. Katoa's been playing really well.
He's been gun to it. Yeah,
he has been gun. Katoa, like shit. That guy's going to be one of the top 3 halfbacks in the game. in the next couple of years, I reckon. But yeah,
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe Teddy. Teddy's been playing really well. He's been making a case for a recall. Do you put him in instead of Dylan Edwards? I thought Edwards had a real average game in game 2. I don't know. Like, even Latrell was real quiet. Like,
So when Toya ran around him, I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those nights. That first try, and Toya just...
He didn't really do much for me in terms of involving himself. Like, he kind of seemed the same sort of involvement as game 1. Like, game 1, he did that eat-ass pass to To'o, when To'o went and scored that try, which sort of broke that deadlock evenness that you sort of felt in game 1. Then once To'o got that try, and then like New South, like, they were like, they were up, man, and then they just ran over Queensland. But man, Latrell, he was real pedestrian. Like, he didn't really do anything. He reminded me of Hammer for Queensland in game 1. Like, Latrell was nowhere to be seen. I didn't hear his name get mentioned, not until like the second half. So it was like
a big one for him at a core if he gets picked.
Maybe because he had a massive game for them in the weekend against the Storm. Like, I thought he was the man.
Yeah.
And his tries,
every time he's backed up, he's played good for his club.
Yeah, man, and he almost won the game for them too when they were deadlocked. And he took a drop goal, and it was about 40-something odd meters out, and it just sort of went to the left, and I was like, suddenly, this guy could have had another one of those like magic moments.
He wants to bring that moment in game 3, I reckon.
Yeah, well, that's what you kind of fear. Like, even though Latrell might have had a quiet game 1 and 2, and the next minute the man pulls out like a super memorable game 3, and then people will forget the shitty performances that he had in game 1 and 2, because he might have done some amazing plays to carry them through to win the series. So those are the types of players that you don't want to poke the bear, man. It's like, no, you're all right. Don't do anything. Don't poke him.
Yeah, harder. Just keep him off the meter. You've been awesome. Speaking of guys that haven't been awesome, the Broncos administration, man, just heaps of stuff happening over there. Like the team seems to be starting to click now. But man, Selwyn Cobbo and what's happening in the background there with that guy. Like any other player, like this guy's an Origin player. He's, done a job for them when players have been injured. When Reece Walsh wasn't there, he was solid at the back. Talks of him and Katoni, they're trying to decide what's happening with their futures and trying to sort those. So they finalized Katoni's over the weekend and Adam Reynolds' extension and stuff. So yeah, it sounds like they give it they're way off the mark. They're trying to throw him like 300 grand, like 320 or something.
Yeah,
like Selwyn's on like 650, and it's like, bro, this is a joke. Like, how can you, someone of that quality, and you've invested a lot into him through a club that he loves, like that he's always wanted to play for. Yeah, and then I guess this is why we always back the players when they get these crazy deals, because this is the flip side when clubs treat the players like this.
Yeah, like this is crazy because he's still young. So when you're at that age and you're that caliber player, you're a Queensland State of Origin rep player. I was talking about this on the chat, how back in 2022, he knocked back an offer which was reported in the media. I don't know which team it was, but it was a 5-year offer, $4.5 million. And he knocked that back because he wanted to get his contract upgraded at the Broncos from his 180,000 or whatever the top 30 up to the 600, whatever it is now. Like that's big money that he knocked back to be loyal to the Broncos.
Be a Bronco.
Yeah, man. And the game that I want to highlight that shows his impact and how much of a difference he would have been was that game where Jesse Arthurs was the fullback, and I can't remember who it was against, But I was like, Jesse Arthur's fullback. And Selwyn wasn't injured. Like, he could have played in that game.
Mm-mm.
But they put Arthur's at the back. And Arthur's
Oh,
a winger,
chuck him on
man.
the wing,
Like, he might do an okay
Mm.
job at fullback, but he had a terrible game at fullback. He just didn't know where to stand. He was always out of position. Like, he was solid under the high ball, but on defense, like, he was doing winger things, like standing on one side and not sort of covering. Yeah, and
getting across.
And that for me was when, where the fuck's Cobbo? You know, I ask my son every now and then because he still keeps in touch with Cobbo because they played together out at Wynnum. Yeah, and he was telling me, man, he's bulked up heaps. He's kind of lost his speed a bit there. And I was like, yeah, because he was like lean, fast, super fast.
And fast, yeah, just...
Yeah, and like John's comment about how they bulked him up to try and replace Herbie Farnworth in the centres, I was like, yeah, man, they bulked him up and then he lost his speed. And then it's like they gave up on the experiment before they really even had a chance to let the experiment shine. Because then he just got replaced and didn't know where to sort of put him. And it's like, come on, man. You know, they've been giving guys like Shibasaki and that opportunities.
Yeah.
You know, and now they've re-signed young Josiah Karapani, and they're getting Anderson over from the Storm from next year. So it's like, man, those are clear signs. Whatever the Broncos are telling the media, saying, oh yeah, you know, we're trying to work it out, but you know, there's a middle ground that we're probably not going to reach, but we're trying real hard. And I was like, so you can't one day say that you're trying to get there, then the next day the news gets announced that you're re-signing Karapani, you're gonna sign Anderson. I was like, these guys, that's a clear sign that Cobbo is on his way out. I don't know where he's going to go to. But yeah, I think it's a misstep from the Broncos.
Yeah.
Reinvesting in like they've obviously re-signed Reynolds, right? So I don't know. That decision might come to bite them in the ass, I think, because I think Cobbo would do well wherever it is that he goes. There's talk he might go to the Bears. There's talk that he's had conversations with the Dragons. They could probably use a Cobbo. You know, Caleb's like, oh, I hope he gets to South. I was like, always wanting players to end up at his team.
But short on centres here down in New Zealand. So
yeah, but
wasn't Cobbo a friend of the 135 footy show? Maybe not anymore.
not ever. I don't know. Like I still think his position is fullback, but he won't get that at the Broncos because they're love-hate relationship with Reece Walsh. So
yeah.
I don't know. I still think he's an out-and-out fullback because that's what he was when he was at Wynnum. And that's where he was when he first started at the Broncos. You can kind of move between fullback and winger because they had old Wendell Saylor's son there at the time, the young Reece Walsh. Yeah, they had all these young guns that were sort of filling in at the back. So, yeah, I don't know. It's like you say, it's NRL, man. It's his administration. I don't know what their plans are, but surely Maguire would have factored into it somehow. Like, there's a reason why he hasn't been playing Cobbo. So, who knows what's going on over there?
Well, it must be difficult for him, you know. 1 minute they're telling him to bulk up, you know, do all this heavy stuff. Then, hey, you're going to play fullback. Like, hey, man, like 1 minute these guys are trying to tell me to get massive. Now you're telling me I got to run my ass off, be fullback. Yeah, and who knows? Maybe it's just the Madge's training regime's just a bit too much as well. So, who knows? Maybe, yeah. Maybe he's heard about Cobbo's past of calling out his coaches when they fail. Wishing him the best, though, because, yeah, this is just ugly. Like, one thing, I guess, wherever he lands, hopefully... hopefully his management aren't useless as well. Hopefully they get him a decent deal, but they hurry up and get him a deal. Like, I guess the hit back for someone like Cobbo, you know, not playing for the team that he's always dreamed of, is that he could just end up lost to the game. Like, that's the real risk. Hopefully he's got enough, you know, people around him to kind of support him during this time while he's trying to figure it out. But yeah, hopefully his management aren't bots and greedy and try and get him a mean deal, and he ends up ends up in the back streets. We never hear about him again.
That's the thing, eh? He's still a young kid. 22, whatever old he is now.
Yeah, about that.
But yeah, you're right. Like that whole, this was his dream. This is what he wanted to do as a young kid growing up in Brisbane area, and it's like play for the Broncos. That's what all those young kids who love league want to do. They want to play for the Bronx, and to have that whole image of his ideal Brisbane Broncos just shattered now because of the reality of professional sports. This is like silly. Does he have the resilience
the same money
to
at this
carry
other
on?
club? Like,
yeah, I didn't have any of the posters of
it's
St.
just
George.
about playing footy. It's just about playing footy. It's not just about playing footy. I really want to just play for a Broncos.
I want to be a one-club Bronco man.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's probably just going to be those kind of, like, yeah, he is young, and people are probably like, come on, mate, grow up. It's a business. Like, I don't want to do this business, then I'm just going to do something else.
Yeah, and if I think about young guys that have been lost to the game because they fell out of favour or their form just sort of dropped, Jamal Idris. Remember that guy? He was like a young, up-and-coming, big dreadlocks dude. He was carving it up at the Doggies, carved it up for New South.
That's right.
And then the man just disappeared.
Where did he go? UK or?
I don't know where he went.
Oh, no, yeah.
That's the thing. Like, he was a gun. And he was another one of these young players that sort of made a massive impact in their first couple of seasons and then disappeared. You know, I don't know. Like, Latrell could have easily been like that. And he still gets this far into his career getting hounded by negative press and publicity.
Yeah. Hopefully, hopefully Selwyn lands on his feet. Man, this competition is crazy. Like, just crazy how tight it is. We are well past the halfway mark into just finished round 16. If I look at the points board, like just going by points itself, we have the Doggies on first by themselves on 28. Raiders outright second on 26. Storm and Warriors third equal on 24. Broncos, Sharks, and Roosters, you can call them fourth equal on 18. Panthers on 17 to make it fifth. On 16 points, you have the Dolphins, Manly, and the Dragons to bring out sixth. Cowboys on 15 by themselves to make it the seventh. Knights, West Tigers, Eels, Rabbitohs on 14 points to round out your 8 with the Titans sitting on 12 points. So that's how close this competition is. Like, spread across the point side of things, you've got 9 positions. So, man, we're halfway there, but it's still anyone's. It's still up for grabs. So with that, I thought it'd be a good time for us to review our top 8. Just see how far off the mark we were from our original predictions. So I'll give you my top 8 reviewed based on the current ladder and where things are running. So I've got no particular order. I've got the Warriors, the Raiders, Storm, Roosters, Broncos, Dolphins, Dogs, and Panthers. That changes the ones I had originally. I had the Knights. I had the Knights and the Dragons there originally. And that was instead of, and I had Manly there as well. Okay. My beginning year picks are pretty cool play. Yeah, I think the Dolphins and the Dolphins and the Roosters, I think, were the additions into mine as well. How's your 8 looking at the moment, Us?
My 8 is looking pretty decent, except for I've got everyone except for the Broncos. I was being a Broncos hater at the start of the season.
And who did you have instead of the Broncos and stuff?
I had Manly. I had the Sea Eagles in there. But otherwise, Storm, Panthers, Warriors, Doggies, Roosters, Sharks, and Raiders.
Yeah, you had pretty much the same picks. Yeah, I guess it is pretty much looking like a season of 2 halves. after some of the games we've seen this weekend. Let's just jump straight into it. The Warriors Panthers game. Warriors at home. Last time they're at home up against the Raiders. That was a tough game. With the Warriors going down to the Raiders at home. So I think the boys really wanted to get up for this one. Especially the home games, but was not meant to be. The Panthers really brought back that 2023 next man up mentality when they brought just the way they played. I guess people can probably write them off and go, "Oh, the Warriors lost to the Panthers C team." But man, no slouches there. I spoke earlier about their young leaders, Paul Amoti, Dane Laurie, Tango. Man, those guys led the way, and then the old heads, you had Mosse and Sorensen through the middle, and then just those young guys as well, Schneider and Talangi, Casey McLean. Man, so yeah, I guess that goes back to Will, just what you're really wanting to turn up and do. So yeah, probably a real tough one for the Warriors. And yeah, probably a hard one, especially at home, but not through lack of trying. So I think that's probably one thing. Seeing that game, man, C&K and RTS, they were solid. But yeah, I think just that impact of losing Dallin early, and that try, he's on one leg pretty much. So that was pretty soft try right through the middle of that when Dallin was down. Yeah, your thoughts, Sauce? I don't know if you watched that one at the game.
No, we watched this one at home because my son's league game finished. Well, we probably could have made it, but in the end, we decided to come home and watch it. But I thought there were a few things. Firstly, I don't buy into this Penrith C team rubbish. If you think about it, the number of players that the Panthers have brought up from that first championship, and then all the players that left, then all the players that came into the squad would have been their B team, who then went on to win the championship for the second year, and then all of those guys left, and then the C team came up. So it was like, come on, man. Penrith ABC, I don't think it matters. This is probably the first year where you're seeing a Penrith with their stars suffer the kinds of losses that they have, like close losses.
Yeah, this year.
This has been the first year, and so you can't really sort of write off any Penrith team that turns up. And I know people are going to be like, "Oh yeah, whatever." Penrith were, they did a number on you because you were coming third and we were coming like 10th or whatever on the ladder, and it's like, come on, man. There's no way that the Warriors would have even thought like that heading into this game. These guys are the reigning champs, and they played like the reigning champs on the day. It didn't matter who the personnel was. They're all coming in from the same Penrith system. So, yeah, I don't buy into that. The second thing is, I just thought the Warriors got a bit dudded with the amount of changes that they needed to do. I honestly thought that when Luke Metcalf was sort of limping around, I thought he was going to get hooked, and they were just going to do a straight swap with him and Tamaide or something, and then Tamaide and CHT run in the halves. But that's not what happened. Like, Webby kept them out there, and there was that try at the end. He scored that try right at the death.
Yeah, we just went.
And then, I was thinking, man, Luke Metcalf, they just did a little step, and Metcalf just couldn't keep up with them. And I was like, oh, what the hell? And so there was, I don't know why he kept his star halfback on with the leg injury that he had, when he had a capable person in Tamaide who could have played in the halves, and they could have just done other jigsaw sort of swaps that they had to do on the day with the personnel that they had. It was probably a few things that just went the Panthers' way, losing Dallin, Marata, Yukore, HIA. early in the game. There were all those sorts of things that that the Warriors had to contest with, and I thought they did all right. They didn't have Kurt Capewell, who probably would have brought a bit of. I think people might say, oh yeah, but he's had Fisher Harrison, blah blah blah. This was Fisher's first game playing against Penrith ever, so it's like, come on, man, like. He's going up against his brother, so there's bound to be a bit of emotion there. And I kind of knew that the Panthers were up for this game from that very first hit up. Like Fisher Harris ran it up, and Leota went and met him, and then he had like those other Balangi edges that were there that helped him from Henry, Lem Henry. I was what the? And Fish kind of got pushed back a bit in that very, very, very first hit up. So you kind of knew that the Panthers were there to play, and they weren't going to make it about, the Warriors being this top 4 team. They were coming to show this top 4 team that they were the reigning premiers. And so, man. And so that's how the Penrith team approached that game. Good on Scott Sorensen. I thought that guy had a mean game, and I'm all for the Kiwi boys doing well when they come and play us. Except for Joey Taps.
Man, yeah, it was an interesting game, like you're saying, real tough games as well. I think the Warriors will take heaps of lessons, like stuff that the other teams are starting to figure out too. Like I think Panthers and Raiders have worked it out real good. Like the Warriors, the way they do that defense that they do is that slow death where they take them to ground, but they kind of keep them held up long enough for for the boys to retreat before they get them to the ground. And so, the Panthers were fighting quick, either get to the ground quick or offloads. And those offloads, same as what the Raiders did to us, are killing us because we're trying to slow play that tackle so we can keep them off the ground long enough for it not to be held, but then control the ball. But we just weren't controlling that ball in the ruck. And I think that's that second phase. They're probably going to have to figure out how they do that better when they're doing that defense. Because, that second phase, the guys already set the line. Then they're just coming up real slow. So they're finding heaps of meters off the back of that.
Yeah. Just looking at the stats, the Panthers had 9 offloads to 1.
Yeah.
And then because of that, the number of ineffective tackles that the Warriors made was 20 to 1.
Shucks, yeah.
So there was a lot of missed tackles. Like Panthers missed 39 and we missed 33, but it was those ineffective tackles, the amount of second phase that the Panthers were able to get in, and they were getting a lot of front football. They were playing real direct.
And then we couldn't come up, because the guys were like, you rush up and then they'll get and then they'll get that quick tackle, run back, and then when they're running back, they'll get the offload. So it was like flipping heck, like this.
Yeah.
And you couldn't, that's the thing. We are a disciplined team, so if they're getting called, it means they were just really pressing, like just so much pressure. Then the kicks too, like just those little dinks into no man's land, just catching us out, letting it bounce. I think there was that one we got caught out. Just totally bounced over the head. They nearly got that twice too, that little Alamoti one that he chipped through at the beginning of the second half. So just a few little things that probably good timing too, like good little things for the guys to be aware of, because that's going to come more in these other games. So real hard one though, like off the bye and off the high of that Sharks game. But I think definitely going to put the guys in good stead for this upcoming game against the Broncos. Speaking of the Broncos, that win against the Sharks, man. I was giving those guys shit on the chat because I thought, man, when I saw the Sharks running away, I was like, here we go, Sharks. But man, they, I don't know, because the Broncos look flat. Like, I didn't know what was happening in that first half. There was just a lot of messy mistakes in that first half. But the Sharks really just had that, like a real easy go for it, easy penalties. But man, yeah, once the Broncos got on that second half, just almost opportunist, like just frantic, and yeah, the organization from the Sharks was poor. Yeah, and then Nico again, just opportunities when he should have iced it. Same against what he did against the Warriors, just little plays where they needed him to ice it, and getting it wrong. I think there was like a 6 again near the end when they had a chance. But man, yeah, Reece Walsh, the Broncos, I don't know. Your thoughts? Are they looking like a genuine top 8, top 4 team?
No.
Yeah, no, I think
not at all, because they struggled to put the Sharks away, and I just think about the week before, or when we played them, and we pumped the shit out of the Sharks. And so, to be honest, the Broncos should have done the exact same, but it looked like they were making super hard work of the Sharks. And yes, I know the Sharks is not a team you just write off, because on their day, they've got the personnel that can put you to shame. But I don't know, like, the Broncos have got superstars right across the field. So, we put 40 points on the Sharks. I think, yeah. So, no, I wasn't that impressed. It was a bit of a back and forth game for me. It could have gone either way. Like you said, there was like a couple of real lucky sort of bounces, some fortunate things that sort of happened for the Broncos. I'm not hating on them, because they need to get consistent at winning these kinds of games. The only good thing about their win over the Sharks is that the Sharks was a top 8 team. And so that was positive for them, because it brings them up into the ladder, or further up into the ladder, and it puts some distance between them and the rest of the sort of chasing pack. Like, looking at where they are, they're sitting at 5th, the Sharks at 6th. I think they just swapped places over the weekend with them beating the Sharks. But that's, to be honest, the Broncos need to start winning a few more of these games before I'm even convinced that they're going to make the 8. And I only say that because the losses that they've had over the last 6 to 7 weeks have been terrible. Like, the losses have been terrible. So I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat a win over the Sharks and say that it was great. Now it's the start of something. Lots of people are talking about how the Panthers have now won 3 in a row. Now the comeback starts and blah, blah, blah. All of their fans are now piling on the fact that, yeah, we've won 3 in a row. It's like, well, you have won 3 in a row. That's great. But you started the season really shit. And I know it's not how you start a season, it's how you finish. It looks like the Panthers they're going to do what Panthers do and start piling on some wins. But because of the fact that they've been playing Super Kaya at this first half of the season, I'm not convinced with the Panthers either. Yeah. So, I don't know. Like, the Broncos and Panthers will probably end up in the 8, but they need to do something super convincing to make me believe that they're going to threaten for the premiership this year. And again, similarly with the Warriors, I'm not going to now write the Warriors off and start saying shit like, oh, it's the beginning of the end after that. Lost to Panthers. See, I don't buy that bullshit. Nah, man. I don't buy that at all. So I think if the Broncos get over the Warriors this weekend, it's a good start for them. Like, consistency is a good start for consistency for them. Like, if they're able to get up and beat the Warriors at Suncorp, they should do it. They're heavy favourites, I'm pretty sure, at Suncorp to beat the Warriors this weekend. But again, the Warriors get their personnel back, and it'll be a good game. I know it'll be a good game. Who do I think will win that game? We'll get to the preview when we get there. But they win over the Sharks. Nah, because Alafol's not here to support his team and to back them, I'm just going to say I wasn't convinced. And if you're watching this running it back, Simon, oh, well, you should have been here, mate, to defend your Broncos.
Oh, okay. It's pretty harsh on the Bronx. I thought they'd turn the corner, but not convinced. All right. Right, let's go check out the Isaiah Kalava Cup. Check in on the boys. God Squad taking out Cam Schuster over the weekend. NZ Steppers, Bobby. It's 3 in a row taking out Mandingo. Ultimate Manly sweeping via Bronx. Nacho getting up over these nuts, and this year or next, taking out Cameron Sua. Man, I don't know how I lost that one. My blinking auto captain's not working. Top 6, Stacey's still staying in the hunt there. At the top, God Squad coming second, Nacho in third, these nuts in fourth, Ultimate Manly making a leap into fifth. And All Madden sitting there on 6th. NZ Steppers moved up off 9th. And Clutch City still glued to the bottom of the table. Right, also let's jump straight into our previews. Tomorrow night's game, the Doggies and the Panthers, Combat Stadium. Oh man, yeah, they get all their guys back. Cleary's is playing as well. Panthers look full strength, and this should be good. Doggies got all their players back as well. Panthers versus Panthers 2.0. How you seen this one?
This is a coin toss game for me, to be honest. You can never write off the Panthers. They're starting to get wins in a row now, which is crucial to them making a run at the right end of the season to that top 8. But the Doggies have just been super consistent. Like, games you think they'd lose, they've won. And that's been their sort of performance throughout the whole year against teams that they, in recent seasons, they've probably lost to. So I can't really look past the Dogs, to be honest. Purely because they've got all these ex-Panthers that will know the system. They will, if there's a team in the comp that can unlock the Panthers' attacking structures and are able to form a defense against them, it will be the Doggies with ex-assistant coach Cameron Serraldo and ex-Panthers players all peppered throughout this team hard out. So, this for me is a coin toss game because these guys will know how all of the superstar Panthers, ex-Panthers players that are now in the Doggies play. So, shit. Whoever wants it on the day, really. But I have to go off the fact that the Doggies are top of the table for a reason, and they've been playing super, super consistent football. So I'm going to give it to the Dogs in a close one.
Convince me. I'll back your Doggies, mate. That's sounded good. We'll go over to Manly and the Tigers. Manly get Lehigh back at fullback. Turbo moving into the centres. So that should be interesting. I think there was talk over the during the week with Tom. I think he's been asked to move there, so I don't know. He seems like he'll be fine there. It should be a good matchup. I am not sure how I'm going with this one. I'm hoping Manly bounce back. It'll be good for the competition, but I also would like to see the Tigers go on to start getting some wins. So I'll go Tigers on this. Yours?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna. I like that call of wanting to see the Tigers get some of these freaking close games over the line. Like, they've lost so many this year, 10 points or less, or even less than that. So, the Tigers, they're doing what the Warriors have done in the past, what the Doggies have actually been like in previous seasons when they were building the squad that they've got now, is that they've had a run of like super close losses. I reckon this could go either way for me. I reckon if they had Jareem, there would have been I thought that was going to be key for them to get a victory. I don't know, like, Manly have been super unconvincing as well. Like, Turbo seems past his best. DCE has been playing like a Suki Baba who just got dropped. Like, he hasn't So for someone who lost not only his Origin spot but the captaincy, you'd think he'd be more resilient and come back and perform the house down, but he hasn't, man. He's been real, not hit and miss. He's been miss and miss. So it's like,
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, how much do you think all his rubbish has actually affected this team? Because you think this guy is like just, making all that stuff public. Now he's being dropped. He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's had a massive impact on this team. It's all in his head, and it's impacting how he's playing. And Luke Brooks has always been sort of a second fiddle type half who always looks the goods.
Luke Brooks is West Tigers.
Yeah, bro. He's an ex-Tigers who he's gotten so used to not winning that when it looks like you've got the goods to take this game by the scruff of the neck and win, and then he doesn't. So for those reasons, I'm going to pick the Tigers, probably in a close one as well.
Yeah. Grumpy mood tonight, mate. Say hard on everyone. All right, let's see if we can get more luck out of the Knights and the Raiders. Should be a good game. I guess a lot of these games as well. A lot of the players will be having one eye on Origin selections being announced on the Monday, I guess. Jacob Saifidi back in for the Knights as well. So, I don't know. Yeah, no, I think the Raiders. Raiders away. I missed that Knights game last week where they scored at the end. But the Raiders have just been too good this season. I'll back the Raiders again.
Yeah, again, this is one of those teams that have been super consistent against teams that haven't. So on paper, it should be a Raiders win. But just off the back of their win last week, I'm going to pick the Knights. Like, they were a different team, and it's good to see the Knights playing positive footy where their attack's actually working. Like, for massive chunks of the season, they've struggled to try and get across the line. Like, every time they do a move, it'll either get shut down or they incomplete set. But last week, it was funny watching Dom Young run out against the Knights when the previous week he ran out against the Knights when he was playing for the Roosters and they beat him. So it was weird. But just having Dom Young on the wing, I don't know if that's been the big thing. I think Fletcher Sharp getting his injury was massive for them. That might be the factor that puts it into the Raiders' favour. But they played some good footy last week, and I really like the fact that they were on a roll on and they played super positive. So it looks like they're going to save their coach's ass again by doing some eat-ass runs of good performances at the end of the year. So I reckon the Knights are going to upset the Raiders because the Raiders are probably due a loss, to be honest.
Yeah,
Raiders the Knights in a close one.
Man, you hear about that Fletcher Sharp injury? I was listening. They were saying it's like he tore his kidney from his elbow jamming into it. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah,
they're saying it's like a car crash.
Oh, I thought it was accident. The ball. Oh, but it's his elbow.
Yeah, it was his own elbow. They said, and just the momentum, and they were saying it's what they see from car crash.
Holy, it's crazy.
So all the best to Fletcher Sharp. Hopefully recover. Yeah, there's no timeline on his return because. That's like a car crash. All right. This should be a good one. Saturday afternoon. The Warriors and the Broncos both just playing. I think halfway through the season. Good positioning too. So very much just vying to. I guess bring some consistency into their season just to make sure they kind of get things going. The Warriors have been good, so very much just wanting to steady the ship for them. I think a lot can be read into last week, what everyone's calling the Panthers C team. Who's coming? Ed Kossi And welcome back, Rocco Berry. So that's good. Yeah, just kind of strengthening those middles. I think that's probably something's been missing. Leka and Vaimonga dropping to the bench. Carrigan and Haas. Oh man, yeah, this should be a real good matchup. Both teams look full strength. Karapani getting the nod on the wing. Together with Arthur's. This should be a real good game. Especially this Ford matchup. Murata got the nod. Okay, so he couldn't come back. Must have been a grade 2 then, eh? Or is it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, good to have Capewell back after his Origin heroics. Yeah, I'll go Warriors in a 13 plus.
How good is the NRL, bro? Like, you when you were talking earlier about the ladder and how you done it on points.
Yeah.
So now I'm looking at these games and they are tough to call. Like that Thursday night game looks like could be the game of the round, but then so could the Friday games. This game of Broncos Warriors could be the game. But then again, flipping Storm Sharks. There's so many games this weekend.
WWE riders, bro.
FOOTY, man. It's really tough to call. And it's tough to call, and it's reflected in how close the ladder is this year for the NRL. It's ridiculous. Teams have been doing the win one, lose one, win one, lose one, with only the top 4 that have had like consistent wins so far this year. For me, no analysis required. I think the Warriors will run away with this game against the Broncos. I do have some doubts, though. Oh, nah. Because Edward Kosi had come back into the team, I was thinking, but he's actually up against Josiah. So, that's probably... he'll be up against Jesse Arthur, eh? No. I reckon still Warriors. Warriors by heaps. Smash the Broncos and kick them back out of the 8.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good to see Licky Metz being named there, so I think there's no concerns. I don't think that'd be pushing him too much if there was any major concerns there. All right, the Dragons and the Eels. After watching the Eels play last week as well. Teams that should be Kopai and not even thought about, but man, really stepping up. The Dragons been disappointing all year as well, but with the caliber, like we keep saying, they should be doing a lot better. Looks like Lockie Ilias is close to returning as well. He's been named in the extended reserves. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'll go with the Whaleanga Eels. Stick with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna double up on the Eels for this one because the coach continues to pick his Gaia S son at halfback. It looks like you were saying, Lockie is good to go. Apparently, he's been carving up in the New South Wales Cup as well. So I don't know why you'd continue to pick your son, who's had some super indifferent form in their last few games, and you've got a halfback who's carving up in the New South Wales Cup. I know it's different to the NRL, but you've got to try and change something to sort of staunch the backwards momentum that's happening at the Dragons. Like, you highlight that they've got heaps of good players, but good players don't mean jack if your halves aren't able to craft anything or to get creative and set your attack alight, because that's not what Kyle Flanagan's doing at the Dragons at the moment. And his dad can back him to the nines, which any good father should, but he's the coach of a professional sports organization and he should make a call based on that. Not that he's my son. It should be, sort of, son, you need to go down to New South Wales Cup and get better. Like, that's what he needs to do. But yeah, I don't know. They got a tough one out there at St. George. But Para, for me, Para probably smashed him
every week.
Yeah,
every week he doesn't make that call. It's just more pressure on Kyle. So I don't know. We'll see. man, the games don't get any easier. The Dolphins taking on the Rabbits. Wayne Bennett taking on Christian Wolf. Man, a lot to play for, and yeah, good timing when like the Rabbits like that trajectory, like just had a slow start, picked up some wins that they probably needed early on to keep them there or thereabouts. This would be a real good matchup. All their stars back again, with one eye on Origin. Everything to play for here. So yeah, I'm gonna have to back the Finns. I'm gonna back the Finns with Katoa to be the man.
Bloody hell. This is another tough game to call. This is 9th place Dolphins versus second to last 16th place Rabbitohs. But after watching the Rabbitohs take it to the Storm last week, we're sitting third at the moment. Like, the Rabbitohs on their day can take out any of those top 4 teams. And they were just unfortunate to lose in Golden Point over the weekend. Gee, this is...
It's a good game till Saturday.
Yeah, man. The games aren't getting easier to pick. Yeah, you're right. Who did they lose? They lose Bostock, right? Because he injured himself, his knee. He's out for the season, I think.
Oh, poor dude. Man, he's been the man as well.
Yeah, it was a non-contact ACL injury. Like, he caught the ball and he just stepped and his knee just sort of buckled and fell over. So I was like, oh, suddenly. I'm gonna go with Souths for this one. This will probably be super close, but I'm gunning for Souths because I want AJ to get that record.
Yeah.
So I want him to get it in the next couple of games.
Right, Storm Sharks getting there last couple. Yeah, you're right. They don't get any easier, but I think this one is probably a bit easier because the Sharks are horrible. I feel sorry, like you're saying, for Noah Blake's like, oh, my personal reasons are finished. Can I come back now? Yeah, I don't know. Like definitely a Storm win. I think for this game is more just the Sharks to really, at least push this game, try and show that they can be consistent in one set of 80 minutes at least. Yeah, a lot went wrong for them over the weekend, so I don't know how they come back, especially against the Storm. Who knows? Maybe they'll get their game on.
Who knows? Yeah, again, this is a tough one to call. I think one of the reasons why that game against Souths for Storm was close is because Storm were letting Souths in that game. Like, there were heaps of unforced errors that were un-Storm-like. And man, Bellamy was off the Richter scale, man, in that coaches.
Yeah, I'm sure they would have had a hard training this week. So
it was crazy. So in that game against South, in the first 6 minutes, it was 12-0 because they scored these 2 tries. Like, one was Harry Grant, and I think the other one was Jerome Hughes. And it looked like they scored at will, and it looked like it was going to hit 50-0. And for some reason, it wasn't 50-0 because Storm kept Minty's their own momentum. Like, kicks were going out in the full, passes weren't sticking, offloads were going nowhere. It was a crazy game to watch. And I feel like the Sharks are going to be on the receiving end of Craig Bellamy's rocking these guys up at training this week. And so I have a feeling it's going to be an ugly, ugly win for Storm against the Sharks. The caveat to that is the Sharks are those whāleanga mare-ass teams that go Gaia, and then when you think you're going to go Gaia again, next minute they'll probably pump the Storm. Yeah, I know. It's been that kind of season. So I'm not going to flip. I'm still sticking with Storm smashing the Sharks in this game. But just with that caveat,
nice.
bloody Sharks.
And rounding out the week, It's probably the Sunday, just a little moyes, the Titans and the Cowboys. Both of these teams really, been disappointing, I think, for their fans. But in terms of the comp, like the Titans, like after that week where they won without their stars, and then both them and the Cowboys just, bit of focus. Not sure. I don't want to say coin toss. I think the Cowboys are a better team in this. Yeah, I'll go Cowboys.
Yeah, I'll probably go Cowboys as well. Like, you're right. Both teams are better than how they've been playing, but with Jaden Campbell out this week, they lose quite a bit of creativity, flair, bit of X factor with Jaden gone. So, as inconsistent as the Cowboys have been, I feel that's enough to swing this game into their favor. So, Cowboys in a close one.
Nice. All right, got anything there for a little multi?
Shit. Haven't really had a look, but let's just pick one for the first game. Panthers Bulldogs. I'm gonna go for tries to Kurt Mann, Luke Garner.
Ooh.
They're both off the interchange, and I'm just gonna chuck them in there.
Nice. All right, I'll go with my one earlier. I'll go with Finns 12 and under. And I'll just go with AJ anytime. Actually, no, I chuck that in as a double. We'll go AJ double. Why not? He's going to get there quicker than he needs to. That's going to be exciting. Seeing how he goes to catch up to those numbers. Nice, Wolves. Any last words? Any last thoughts?
Last thoughts. Probably nothing league related, but have you seen the shit that's happening out in the world today, man?
Man. Yeah, when I just started looking through the news, I was like, what the? Start scrolling, like, who bombed who? What the hell? It's like, hey, man.
The Iran-Israel stuff, the Israel-Palestine stuff.
Yeah.
And
then the
Ukraine,
US just bombing.
Russia still going. It's like, what's going on in the world?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I watched like one video because it's like never on my feed. So I'm like, oh yeah, I guess you never know unless that's kind of what you. I looked up one video. Now everything on my feed is like, this is what's happening. This is like, now I get every side of the story.
Down the rabbit hole. Like, I used to work with this girl, Iranian girl at the contact center, and like I was friends with her on Facebook, and she posts up these pictures of beautiful ass architecture and buildings in Tehran, where she's from, and with sad faces because they must have been bombed by Israel. Yeah, and like I see heaps of her sort of updates where it's like, man, I don't know why they think that we've got all this anti-artillery sort of missiles.
All the
They're firing to Iran and our buildings blow up. Any missiles that Iran's sending to Israel is getting shot out of the sky, and nothing is, or very few will be hitting those targets that Israel are saying, wow, all of these things got bombed. Anyway, the one thing I wanted to point out was I was cracking up because I've read it as I've seen heaps of like my Christian friends on Facebook and that who are like pro-Israel and all of this, and I'm like, suddenly I don't think the Israel of today is the same Israel as. And like I saw this Facebook video where this guy was talking about how the biblical Israel has been weaponized by Israel to get the Christians of the world to support them and what it is that they're doing. So I was like, what? And I was thinking, man, that's so right, because I've seen some very, very, very like zealous posts by Christian friends of mine who are like pro-Israel, and I'm thinking, man, I've seen all the Palestinian video clips, Gaza getting bombed, like hospitals and things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I'm not either or. I'm more like, man, where's the humanity in all of this? So I was like, oh, anyway.
Well, yeah,
That's
those twisted stories, they just keep getting twisted. So, yeah, that's the thing is, like, unless you're there, unless you're seeing the stuff, like, so hard to even scroll. Like, man, is this real anymore?
Yeah.
Like, when you hear Trump saying stuff,
this
so like
AI.
So like, this guy is like so much Kalavalea. I don't know if this is really him saying Kalavalea or if it's just AI. Like,
with the rise of AI, you can never tell what's true now. But
like,
it seems so ridiculous that it must be Trump. It's like, is this real? Or is this... And now he's like, I've made this deal. Please don't break. I've been the only one that's made this peace deal between you guys. Don't break the deal. I was like, great. So this guy's trying to write himself into history, man. It's some sort of the amazingest president in the history of America or something. Oh, yeah. So that's all, man. Just the craziness of the world.
While we continue to enjoy league, you kind of look up from the league world and go, oh, wow. Hopefully there's some games next week. Hopefully the boys get to play some league next week. Yeah, I was thinking the same when I was like, so we got our Malanga to Samoa. Hopefully I can fly in 2 weeks. What the hell?
So Tonga's been banned from going to US.
So like, yeah, I saw that kind of countries. Yeah, so there's Tonga's like, oh, hey man, how are we supposed to?
What did Tonga do to piss off Trump?
Signing those deals with the singers. See, as soon as you're signing this, nah. These guys got a base for the singers to come.
Horns in these world politics.
Interesting last point there, mate. Cheers, Woos. Thanks for jumping on. Nice. Thank you all for tuning in. Go check us out on YouTube, all your social platforms, and you can go check out our website, www.WesWesNet.com. You'll be able to find our other podcasts and articles on the website. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.